Welcome back to another episode of the Ring Fanatics podcast. I am Nick, your host. Joel, as you can tell if you watch this on YouTube or if you're listening to this on your platforms, Joel isn't here. He couldn't make it today for this episode. It's been a pretty busy 2 weeks for both of us, but I promise that next week we will be back to regular programming where both of us will be on the podcast going forward. Once in a while, we got stuff going on. So just be one of us doing an episode. But as always, as I say in every intro of each Ring Fanatics podcast, go subscribe to us on all of our platforms: YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, literally anywhere we could be found, including the audio streaming platforms, wherever you stream the audio versions of this podcast, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, literally anywhere. The more support we get, the better. So if you have a platform and you listen to us on there, give us a 5-star review. Do anything you can to support us. Even buying some of our merch. We have a merch at www.trfshop.com. If you want to rep the Ring Fanatics, go over to our shop, buy a couple things. Spring's coming up, or spring is already here. Summer's coming up. So if you want a t-shirt, a tank top, go over to our merch shop and buy some Ring Fanatics items. Like I said, it's www.trfshop.com, and just rip the Ring Fanatics, and we will be highly appreciative of that. So if you're new to the podcast, or you just need a refresh, we typically talk about news mainly on this podcast. We don't really run down each episode of Raw or SmackDown or Dynamite or NXT, TNA, whatever the case may be. Because if we did that, we will be here for hours. So I'm just going to talk about some of the highlights, I should say, the most talked about news in professional wrestling within the past 7 days. This episode, I'm going to give it the past 8 days. There's something that I'm going to talk about that happened a little bit over a week ago. At the time of this recording, I'm recording this on Thursday night, the day before this is going to be released. So since the last Wednesday till today, I'm just going to kick it off and go right into it. Last Wednesday night on AEW Dynamite Big Business, the highly anticipated Mercedes Mone, the CEO, made her debut for AEW. Something that a lot of people saw coming. Now I'm not gonna be that type of person that'd be like, "Oh, it was a predictable, blah blah blah." I'm not gonna be that type of person because I enjoyed it. I love Mercedes Mone. I'm glad that she was able to finally make her AEW debut. I'm glad that she is finally on my television screen again. I've always been a big fan of Monet, Sasha Banks. So I'm glad that she was able to do it. I love the fact that she opened up the show instead of making it a random surprise during a random point of the show. She was able to go out there, cut a great promo, how she was going to be the revolution, change to a global revolution, she said, for AEW. Um, I love the impact that she made, and you can already tell that she's going to be passionate and change the women's division, change women's wrestling. That's her goal. Um, so I love the fact that she started off her AEW run with a feud with Willow Nightingale. Well, not just yet. I know it's only 2 episodes of Dynamite so far that she's been on, but what we are seeing from her, it seems like she's going straight to Willow Nightingale. I think. I don't want to make that assumption yet because again, we have to wait and see what will happen. But it seems like that's where it's heading because if you guys remember, I believe it was her last match that she had, the match where she got injured over a year ago, was for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship against Willow Nightingale. So I love the fact that that's what it seems to be the first match she's going to have in AEW is with her. I'm sure she probably pitched this, be like, hey, I want to work with Willow. I want to work with her on TV this time and get that match that we couldn't really finish, or couldn't really the match that they couldn't really. How do I say this? a match that they couldn't really finish, I guess. I guess I'll say that because she got injured during the match. She probably had to switch the finish to have Willow win. That's why she won the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. So they finally create that magic that they once wanted to do. And like I said, but this time it'll be on television. So we get to see on pay-per-view because I feel like it's going to lead to a pay-per-view match. So it's going to be in a more broader audience. A lot more eyes are going to be on this match. Um, and I feel like that would be a great move. The thing is with this storyline, it seems like I don't know who's going to turn heel. It seems like she's helping out with Will Nightingale, Monet. She seems like she's helping her out against Julia and Sky Blue. But if you remember from last night's Dynamite, this past Wednesday night, there was a point where the lights went off, lights went back on, and then Willow was like, seemed like she wanted to hit Monet with the chair. So a lot of people, even myself, I'm like, oh, is Nightingale going to turn heel? Which I'll get to in a little bit, but I feel like eventually, I don't know who's going to turn heel, but that match is definitely going to happen at Dynasty, most likely. Then maybe after that, it'll be Monet versus Julia Hart for the TBS championship. And Monet is the person that takes the title off of Julia Hart. And in terms of who would turn heel, I would think it would make more sense for Monet to do so. Because I don't know how I would like the heel turn for Nightingale. I prefer Nightingale to be a babyface because she's a lovable person. She's a lovable character. She is loved by almost everybody. Her theme song goes along with her character. So every time she comes out to the ring, it's you could just have a good time and you just love her and enjoy her presence. Um, so I don't know how I would feel if she did turn heel. For me, it'll take a while to get used to because she's been loved for quite some time by everybody, specifically with me. I enjoyed her as their baby face. She makes a strong baby face. Um, so I don't know how it might take me a while to get used to. Not saying that it probably wouldn't work. I don't want to say that her being a heel would not work. Because for all we know, it could, it could 1000% work. It could probably be the best thing that could happen to her career by turning heel. But it's just we were so accustomed to seeing her as a babyface, as a lovable person that I don't know how I would react to it. It'll definitely be a shocker at first, the moment when it does happen, if it does happen. But it might take a while just to get used to. Um, but it might take a while. Um, I also, like I said, I love the storyline right now. Is like Monet might turn heel. She might be the good person, the baby face. We don't know about that yet. If the goal is to have Monet become TBS champion, then yeah, most likely she'll remain a babyface until after she wins the title at some point. Um, if not, then maybe not. Keep her babyface, make her the heel, and make Will Nightingale the strong babyface that we can definitely get behind. I love the fact that so that part out of the way. I love that Monet is in AEW. There's a lot of dream matches that she can go up against. There's a Britt Baker, Deonna Purrazzo, Tony Storm again, or I don't know. I don't think they ever faced off in WWE, but um, a lot of names that they have there that she could definitely go up against. A lot of opportunities for her to do a lot of new things, like the Forbidden Door pay per view. Will she go up against a New Japan female star over there? Will her versus Julia be the women's match for that card? Will she be a part of All In Wembley Stadium? There's so much that can happen for her in AEW that she hasn't really done before. I feel like with this deal with AEW, I believe that Tony Khan will give her the opportunity to go back to Japan. Like I said before, I believe her last match, um, the match that she got injured in, was the Will Nightingale match for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Although I don't think that match was in Japan, but that was like her last stint for New Japan. Um, I think that she will definitely get that run again. Will definitely get that, like, how to describe it, that Don Moxley New Japan run. During that point where Moxley was the IWGP US champion, he was kind of competing, doing double duty, I guess, competing in New Japan and competing in AEW at the same time. We saw him on both shows. Um, Same with Danielson for a bit. I know he competed at New Japan against Zack Sabre Jr. just not too long ago. So I feel like Monet will definitely do something like that. Maybe go after the New Japan Strongman's Championship since she never had the opportunity to go after that or win that. She may want back her IWGP Women's Championship. I know Kyrie's not in New Japan anymore, but she may want that again to go back for that title. So we may see some New Japan matches for Monet in the future. Um, Obviously since she is now a full-time AEW contracted star. So I can't wait to see that. Um, and the way they presented, going back to the night of her debut in AEW, the way she was presented was pretty cool. Her theme song was the first thing that I noticed, obviously. That's what everyone probably noticed too. The theme song changed. It seems like it was her own song. She sang it and she rapped in it. Um, the thing about her theme song now, I don't hate it. I do not hate the song. Don't get me wrong on that. It's just the fact that I think for me personally, I loved the other song better that she had in Japan. Um, Not I know a lot of people are saying it sounds like I know it wasn't really Gunther's song, it's a famous popular song, but it's similar. Um, I prefer the other song better because I feel like that fits her better, and I feel the same way for some people too. I know the Bullet Club Gold, they got a new theme song recently too. Also another group that I feel like didn't really need a theme song change. I get why they did this for Monet, because if they immediately played her previous theme song, it would have been obvious from the start. I guess they were trying to, like, you know, swerve the audience a little bit. If you saw on the Titantron when she first arrived, it took a couple of seconds to finally say CEO on the screen. So they were trying to swerve us, If they would have played her old theme song, her previous theme song, it would have been obvious from the literally first second of the song. So I get why they had to change it. They didn't want to make it too obvious, but I still prefer her last theme song better. It fits her more. Um, I don't even know if that's a hot take. I think it's a take of mine. Um, there's good theme songs, there's bad theme songs, but there's also good theme songs that fit certain people. Uh, I mean, maybe it'll take me time to get used to this theme song. Again, it's not bad. I don't hate it. It's a good song. I just prefer the other one better. Maybe it'll take me some time to get used to this one. So maybe it'll take a little bit of time for that. So yeah, something I wanted to point out too was the theme song. So yeah, like I said, I can't wait to see what Mercedes Monet will bring for AEW. There's a lot we can do that they could do for her. I know there's a lot of people out there that was saying, like, I know there was an interview she did right before Big Business, like at some point, like a couple of days prior, where she said that she eventually wants to make her WWE return. And a lot of people had a problem with that. It's like, why would you say that right before you're about to make your AEW debut? Like, I get that part. Like, why would you say, I'm going to go back to over there, the other side, the competition, right before you're about to start your job at a certain place, In the professional world, that's not the smartest move to do. Be like, hey, yeah, I'm going to go back over there. I'm not staying here for a while. It doesn't look good. But we all have goals. We all got wants things that we want to accomplish, right? I'm sure. I don't want to make assumptions, but I'm sure that Monet had discussed this with Tony Khan before she signed her contract. I'm sure she mentioned that, like, "Hey, TK, I wanna sign here for X amount of years, then make my way back to WWE, because that's where I wanna end my career. I have unfinished business there, and I wanna make my way back over there." I'm sure they discussed it. By the time when her contract expires with AEW, I'm pretty sure, as every businessman, every CEO, no pun intended, but every boss wants to throw every penny at their stars, their big names, to make them wanna stay. I'm sure he wants to do that. Everyone wants to do that. There's not a single person who would wanna throw their like, all the money they have at a certain person to make them stay. But, again, Tony Khan seems like the type of person who would be understandable of people's careers, you know? Like, I'm sure he's had a couple of conversations with a couple of people who had recently left AEW, saying that they want to return back to WWE or go elsewhere, do other things outside of AEW while not being under contract with them. And it seems like Tony Khan is understandable with that. You want to keep everyone happy. You want to make sure they are financially well, and he wants to have the best roster ever with the biggest stars, and I get that. But if she doesn't want to stay there for the end of her career, I Tony Khan is understandable with that. I'm pretty sure he'll let her go, when that time comes. Will she change her mind? Maybe, like, maybe when I don't know how long her contract is, but maybe when the time comes when her contract's running up, she may wanna resign with AEW. We don't know. Her career is her choice, you know what I mean? Again, as a boss, you wouldn't wanna throw every penny he has to make her stay, but it's her choice whether she wants to go back over there, and get paid the big bucks, more than what Tony Khan is offering, because money talks, or does she wants to stay in AEW, maybe finish her career there. So we shall see when that comes. It's definitely not going to be like a bidding war 2024 thing like MJF did, but whenever the time comes, if she wants to stay, she'll stay. If she wants to go back and finish over there, she'll do that. Um, so we shall see for that. And I'm super happy that Monet is in AEW, and I finally get to see her on my TV screen. I can't wait to see what she'll do in the future. I can't wait for the matches that she'll put on. Um, who she'll go up against. I'm pretty sure she'll have matches against every dream match we could think of in AEW. And this means a lot for the division. She's putting on like the story with Willow Nightingale, Julia Hart, adds another great story to the women's division. Other than Tony Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo, um, it adds importance to that title too. I hope it will. I know she just got there, but um, there's a lot of great story. The Monet being in a Mercedes Monet being in AEW just elevated the game for the women's division. Again, like I said, it's getting me more excited for the women's division than I was not too long ago. You know, the only good story that AEW was doing, in my opinion, was the Tony Storm stuff versus Deonna Purrazzo and everything before that. Now Mercedes Monet coming in and being a part of the division, it changes the whole landscape of the women's division. There's a lot of matches that she can go up against that can headline a pay per view potentially. That could headline so many things in AEW. Um, you know, her going against Willow, Statlander, Julia Hart, Britt Baker, even Diana. If she doesn't go up against her, it would be so much. It will bring a lot of eyes to a lot of eyes to the division. I would say, um, more than before. Because yeah, I was not going to say that I hated their women's division prior, but it is definitely gonna like she said, it's not an evolution, it's a revolution, a global revolution. So I'm pretty sure her going there will change a lot for the women's division, and I'm excited to see what and where it'll be in a couple of years. So I'm excited for that. So yeah, I'm happy to see again Mercedes Monet on my TV screen for AEW. No matter what happens, I'm just glad she's back in wrestling and she's healthy. I know it was scared that her injury about a year ago was a little bit scary. I think she said in a promo that could have cost her her career. But I'm glad she's healthy and glad she's able to wrestle again. And I'm just happy that she's back. So yeah, I'm gonna stay on the AEW uh, realm for a little bit longer. Now head over to WWE stuff for WWE. Um, Last night on AEW, Adam Copeland won the TNT Championship for the second time, and Okada won the AEW Continental Classic Championship or Continental Championship. I don't know what they're calling it, but the Continental Championship, um, the Continental Crown Championship. Sorry, uh, great great matches. The main event was great between Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Um, Glad that they were able to do it in Toronto. Um, Again, did people expect that coming? Most likely, yeah, because it was in his hometown. But I'm glad that it happened. Um, and it did not last 3 minutes this time. I was afraid that something was going to happen to be like, wait, uh, rematch or something, or till someone comes out and then like they had to restart the match and Christian Cage wins it again. I was afraid that was going to happen, but I'm glad it didn't this time. I feel like, and I know Joel said this a while back too, that Christian Cage's run as TNT champion made a TNT title relevant again. Um, the last few runs, specifically with this Adam Copeland and Christian Cage storyline, put relevance to the title again. The story from when Adam Copeland got here, uh, with him wanting to get revenge. He wanted to team with Christian Cage at first, and eventually they turned on each other, or Cage turned on Copeland. Um, this whole story just captivated my attention more. I didn't know how it was going to be at first. I'm kind of iffy on it, but then the more it went on, it really captivated my eyes. So I'm glad that the story's been working out very well so far. Um, I always hated the fact that you know for the TNT Championship there was like one person who would win it. A month later they would lose it again, and then back and forth. It feels like every other week there would be a new champion. The last couple of reigns was not that bad. Christian Cage's first title reign was pretty good. His recent one was pretty good. The one he just lost from Luchasaurus had a great title reign. Uh, Even though Christian Cage was saying it was his title reign, it was a great run. Great story overall. The transition from champion to champion since. Um, Even though I hated the 3 minute run that Adam Copeland had, it made sense. Because that was part of the story. You know, Luchasaurus won the Battle Royal earlier the night. He gave Christian Cage the opportunity to cash it in, then he won it back. In previous times, it was like they would give someone a random TNT title match and they would just win it. Like I remember like a year ago, Wardlow and Samoa Joe were feuding for the TNT title. Then like Darby Allin randomly won it. He was just given a match and then he won the title. And then held it for like a month. Samoa Joe won it back. Held it for like another month. Powerhouse Hobbs won it. Wardlow won it back. And it was flip flopping. And I think now I hope Tony Khan and them realize they shouldn't really give it up that often, as they should, or as they've been doing in the past. I think the long length title reign, title reigns work for the TNT title, especially with what's going on in the story. They could definitely add a lot more to it. Daniel Garcia was in the mix at one point. He had a match at Revolution. Um, I hope he gets in a rematch because from that match, I know Christian Cage cheated. He was basically outnumbered. So I hope Adam Copeland eventually gives Daniel Garcia that opportunity. Um, Whether it's at Dynasty or at Double or Nothing, I just hope that Daniel Garcia is able to get that rematch that he deserves. It'll be great. I would prefer him to win it, but again, it kind of goes with what I was saying. I hope he wins it, but not yet. I just don't want Adam Copeland to have another short length title reign in the past. They've been doing well with the title with having long length title reigns, so Maybe not yet. That may be a hot take. I don't know. I know a lot of people want to see Daniel Garcia as champion sooner. But so do I. I feel like if it was against Cater and maybe at Double or Nothing, where that's their bigger pay per view. You know what I mean? So we shall see where that goes. And Okada also won the Continental Crown Championship against Eddie Kingston. Um, I love that win. You know, a lot of people were I saw on social media, a lot of people were saying how like he just got there. Well, not really just got there. I know he's been in AEW a few times before, but like he just signed full time. Why does he get a championship match right away? Like, where's the rankings? You know, and I see that. You know, I've been wondering for the last like 2 months. Like, they just brought back the rankings. Why they're already giving random title shots to people who, you know, weren't even in the top 5 the last time they showed the rankings. You know what I mean? So I get that part. Like, why does he get a title shot right away? But this is leading to something. You know, they're not just randomly throwing in Okada to the championship, you know, for no reason. This is definitely leading to a match between uh, Okada versus Omega at most likely Double or Nothing. You know, if not, then after Forbidden Door, because technically it wouldn't be New Japan versus AEW. So it's most likely happening at Double or Nothing if Omega is cleared by then. If he's not, then most likely wait till he's 100% cleared, then make it back. Um, I haven't seen their match. I've seen the match and I've heard about their match in New Japan from a couple of years ago. But if this match happens whenever it does, this will be my first time watching an Okada versus Omega match live, like as it's happening. You know what I mean? Like I've seen the match, but like a couple of years later, a couple months after, so I didn't really see it when it was going on. But I think that's gonna happen. I think at first it'll probably be a 6-person tag. Um, it'll probably be the elite, the new elite, the elite, the Young Bucks and Okada versus Omega, Hangman Page, and Ibushi, most likely. That's probably gonna be the first match at a pay per view, maybe at Double or Nothing. Um, and maybe wait a little bit, then have the Continental Crown Championship match between Okada and Omega at some point down the line. They like to do random matches. I don't want to say random, but they like to do championship matches at Dynamite. If there's a special Dynamite going on, put it on there. It just that doesn't make sense to do a AEW star versus another AEW star at a Forbidden Door, since that's not really the purpose of it. Um, so if that's the match plan for the future, book it for either a pay per view or a special show. That's not really Forbidden Door, but we will wait and see on that whenever that match happens. But I feel like that's gonna happen soon. But shout out to Eddie Kingston too. Um, been having a great run. Uh, he still has his Ring of Honor belt. He still has the New Japan Strong belt. I know he's defending the Ring of Honor belt against Mark Briscoe at Supercard of Honor coming up during WrestleMania weekend. So, um, uh, for that match, I don't know. It can go either way. I would love to see Mark Briscoe win his first, not his first, a single championship um, in Ring of Honor. So I would love to see him win it, but I would love to see Eddie Kingston retain it. You know, even though those two haven't been, you know, active in Ring of Honor as of late. So it will make sense to probably keep it on Eddie Kingston. I know it's a big thing that like, and I've seen a lot of people who keep up with Ring of Honor as of late saying that like, no, this is what I saw. Sorry, I saw a post on social media recently where someone said that pretty much most of the champions in Ring of Honor right now are not active Ring of Honor superstars. If you think about it, the 6-man Ring of Honor 6-man champions, the Bullet Club Gold, have not made an appearance at all in Ring of Honor together. Um, Eddie Kingston hasn't been in Ring of Honor in quite some time. I know he's on this week's episode, but he hasn't been on there in a while. The Kingdom haven't been on Ring of Honor in a while. So I don't think they've been on this year at all. And same thing with Kyle Fletcher. I know he's been injured, but he was out for a while. The only active one was Athena the entire time. So I do hope that they include these champions more on Ring of Honor television, or maybe give these champions up, these titles up to people who we see on Ring of Honor television here and there. Ring of Honor programming here and there. I do want to see that on champions, on superstars who are active in the company. You know, doesn't make sense to keep them on AEW specific stars. So just give them up. You know, don't think it makes sense to keep it on solely AEW people. So I agree with that post that I saw. I didn't screenshot it, so I would have shown it if I did. But yeah, glad that Okada won his title. That was expected, but I'm glad that he did because it's part of the story. Another thing that happened that I wanted to talk about, switching gears now to WWE. It was announced that Shayna Baszler, and this is one thing I wanted to talk about. Shayna Baszler last week announced that she was going to compete at GCW Bloodsport. That's happening during the weekend of WrestleMania. I know there's a whole bunch of indie shows. I don't know. I don't think it's just specifically GCW, but they're doing they do this every year called a collective, where they have a whole bunch of indie shows happening that weekend for that week of WrestleMania. Um, so she will be competing. The match was made official: her versus Masha Slamovich, 1-on-1. It's basically WWE versus TNA at a GCW show. It's great to see, it's cool to see that matchup between Shayna Baszler and Masha. It's pretty sick that how the WWE is working with an indie show, that they're allowing her to compete for them. From what I also heard, apparently, I don't know if it was for Bloodsport specifically, but I heard that WWE is allowing more of their talent to compete in those type of shows. So, will we see more um, WWE talent in GCW shows during that weekend? We shall wait and see if there's more to be announced. But I'm glad that WWE is allowing them to do that stuff. Um, I know they've had TNA. They've been doing these partnerships with TNA, allowing some of their talent to appear on their show. Um, so it's kind of cool that they're allowing their talent to go elsewhere too. I don't know much about Bloodsport. Um, I don't follow GCW that much, so I have no idea what this event is about. I know they do this every year during Mania weekend, during the collective weekend, but um, I know it's kind of like, I think I've seen clips of it where it was like it's more combat ish, like UFC styled. I believe this is, if someone can correct me who's listening to this part and wants to correct me on this, I believe this is the event where they don't use ropes for the ring. Um, it's just the mat and that's it. Which is cool because Shayna Baszler fits that style. Obviously, she was a former former MMA fighter. So she kind of fits that vibe of Bloodsport. Um, and that's actually going to make me want to watch it. I'm actually going to watch it when it happens. Um, so I think if that was the goal for them, then good. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's thinking that or going to do that. Again, I don't really follow GCW. Um, so I know now that she's announced for that show, that was probably the goal for them to be like, hey, let's get more eyes on this weekend. Let us help you by giving some of our talent so that more people can not just go to the event, but to watch the event. So shout out to them for doing that. I'm curious to see who else is going to compete during that week. If there's more, again, those are just reports that I saw. They could just be rumors. Who knows if that's true or not? But if they are expanding that way. Good for them. I thought a lot of people were also saying she should have gone up against Marina Shafir. I believe Marina Shafir has competed in a blood sport before, but I don't think they would have done an AEW versus WWE talent for a weekend. That would probably break. I think that's definitely a match that would get talked about a lot. Obviously, Shafir and Baszler are good friends in real life. Shafir used to compete in WWE, so that also would have made sense to happen for that day and that day only. But I don't think they would have done a WWE versus AEW match. This one made sense for Masha because she does work for TNA. WWE and TNA have a close relationship. Recently, as of now, they have, and they probably will forever for as time goes on. But they have a close relationship, so it made sense to do that one too. Uh, and I'm excited to see that the great match that I didn't know that I would see uh, in my time as a wrestling fan, and I'm actually looking forward to. I've looked at the other matches on the card, so that card seems to be looking cool, and I'm actually interested in watching it. Um, if you're listening to this part already, comment down below in this YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, what other type of matches you would want to see for the collective weekend? Which WWE talent star you want to see go up against an indie superstar for that weekend? But comment that. Nah, but that's crazy though. Now that I think about it more, Shayna Baszler, WWE signed wrestler, a star, going up against a TNA wrestler at a GCW show. Now that I'm processing it, it's like, damn, that's actually pretty crazy. Shout out to both companies though, for able to do that. Three companies technically for putting this together. It's definitely getting me excited to watch it. I know I sound like a broken record. I've said this a billion times already. I don't really follow GCW that much, but now after seeing that match announced for Bloodsport during WrestleMania weekend, now I'm excited to see this. And again, I'm probably not the only one that thinks that. So the fact that they were able to work with this company uh, to send over a WWE contracted star to their show with more rumor to be showing up during that week. It's crazy that they're doing this. I'm glad they're doing this. Smart business move for both ends. And I can't wait to see who else will show up and what else will happen for that weekend for GCW. Good move on both ends. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about that and how great of a move that is. And I'm excited for that weekend. One more thing that I wanted to talk about real quick. And then I'll probably wrap it up after this topic for this episode. I know it's kind of quick, but it's just me today. I don't have Joel, obviously, to really bounce off. Otherwise, it would have been a longer episode, but no worries. All good. He'll be back next week. But the one more thing I wanted to talk about that came up over the past 7 days was the documentary that WWE is releasing on Peacock on Bray Wyatt and his legacy. I saw that and I'm like, that is something that is going to be an emotional roller coaster for me personally, and for a lot of wrestling fans too that were fans of Bray Wyatt. Obviously, after he tragically passed away last year, um, someone who was a uh, creative genius, I would like to call him in the wrestling world. Um, he It's sad that he had to pass away at such a young age, and I'm glad they're doing this to honor him. I'm definitely going to be watching it the second it comes out on April 1st on Peacock. So they're definitely going to be highlighting that. I seen from the trailer, Bo Dallas is going to be in it, John Cena, and a few others. And it also said when they highlighted it on Raw that supposedly Undertaker is narrating it. So the fact that they're incorporating all these people um, to talk about the life and the career of Bray Wyatt is going to be, like I said, an emotional roller coaster for me. Someone who I admired in the business, that I was a big fan of. So I'm going to be definitely glued to my seat watching it when it ever comes out. So um, I'm definitely looking forward to that and to see what they will do. A lot of people were, and also kind of in that same conversation, a lot of people were saying that he should be in the Hall of Fame this year. Um, he My take on Bray Wyatt not being in the Hall of Fame this year, I do think he deserves to be in it. He 1000% is a Hall of Famer. Um, should it happen this year? Most likely not. The reason why I say that is I think that Bray Wyatt should be the headliner for a Hall of Fame class. He should be the Paul Heyman of this class, the Rey Mysterio, the Undertaker the year before. He shouldn't just be, this is Paul Heyman's year. I feel like they already have the headliner. I feel like this was given for this year. I also feel like they could wait another year to put Bray Wyatt in the Hall of Fame. It doesn't have to happen immediately and rushed in. Um, Again, I think they should have a special night for him, and instead of being like, "Oh, I want to make Paul Heyman the headliner," then just rush Bray's speech, whoever is going to talk for him. So I do think, if anything, next year will be a better year for him to be inducted, so that way they have a long time to talk about his legacy and his career. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up and just mention that real quick. But yeah, the whole um documentary is gonna talk about a lot of things that we didn't see from behind the scenes from his career. So I'm excited to see what others had to say about specific times in his life, in his career, and people got to talk about who he really was, um, off screen. I've heard a lot of amazing things of how great of a human being he was. So um, I'm just excited to see that documentary whenever it comes out. I still haven't had the chance to watch the Cody one. A lot of people said that was good. Uh, I've been seeing that a lot of people were saying that this Bray Wyatt one could be just as good or even better than the Cody one that they did. I know I'm saying a lot. I can't stop saying that. It's a habit of mine. Sorry about that. But I love that they're doing documentaries like this for people, for certain people and certain occasions. The Cody one they had to do because he came back to WWE uh, after being gone for so many years, and I just love that they're doing documentaries like this. I feel like they should do a lot more. I know they had a series on WWE.com. I know they do WWE biography, Rivals, Dark Side of the Ring, but I love these Peacock special documentaries because uh, it just feels different. I know they did the Last Ride for Undertaker when he retired like 4 years ago. I saw that one. That one is pretty good. I don't know if it's going to be the same thing as this Bray Wyatt one is going to be the same thing as that, where it's like multiple parts. I correct me if I'm wrong for anyone who's listening to this who watched the Cody one. I believe Cody's was a couple of episodes too. I think it was two different episodes because it was a long one. But I'm excited to see where this goes, and I'm excited to watch it. Um, Rest in peace to Bray Wyatt again. What a legend he was, and what a career he had, and what the life he had. So I just wanted to talk about that real quick. Those are the things that I wanted to talk about today. Again, it would have been a longer episode if we had Joel on today, but he couldn't make it on. But we will be back with Joel next week. And the week after that, we will be doing predictions for WrestleMania because WrestleMania is not next weekend, but the weekend after. Um, we don't know what we're gonna do yet, so stay tuned for that. Um, Usually for Mania, what we do is we do 2 episodes that week. One episode for night one, the other for night two, and we obviously go down the matches for both nights. Last year, I remember they announced the matches like 2 days before night one, which kind of ruined our prediction episodes because I had to guess which matches were not happening on which night, and that kind of ruined it because I was completely wrong with the match cards. But uh, if they pretty much had, I know there's the 3 matches already announced for which night, but if they don't have the entire match card ready by that Monday or by that Tuesday afternoon, then we may have to change the schedule around on when we're going to plan on releasing the episodes. But we'll keep you updated on that depending on when WWE announces the matches for night 1 and night 2. So please stay tuned for that. Again, continue to support the Ring Fanatics. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on all social medias. We're very close at the time of this recording, very close to 1,500 followers on Instagram. We're also less than 20 subscribers away from YouTube, so hit the subscribe button. And we're almost at 2,000 followers on TikTok. So if you're not following us on TikTok, go over there right this second and follow us on TikTok. It's literally the Ring Fanatics on Instagram and TikTok and on Twitter. So go follow us on there. We also did an episode, released an episode last Monday night with Kofi Wheatston for the Fanatic brackets. Go watch that episode if you have not done that too. And continue to support us. Once again, I am Nick, your host. This has been episode 154 of the Ring Fanatics podcast, and we will see you guys. Well, I will see you guys next time, and Joel next week. Catch you.